Yo, what's going on, guys? Mush back at it with another video. It looks like we got some Golden Week sales to cover. Green Man Gaming, our friends over there, got a batch of great deals as a part of Golden Week, and we'll be highlighting some deals under $10, under $5, and even under $3. And when it comes to Golden Week, y'all already know, these games are right up your boy's alley. These are the games that I fiend for, and a lot of them are heavily discounted. A lot of JRPGs in here, of course, totally up my alley. These are my games. This is my bread and butter as far as my game tastes go. Obviously, love me my Western games as well, but these Japanese RPGs and a lot of these games from Japanese publishers are always going to be some of those games I gravitate towards. So with that being said, let's just get right into it. Kicking things off, one of the most underrated JRPGs of the last decade, in my opinion, Scarlet Nexus is down to $7.74. What an outstanding deal on a great game. Like I said, Scarlet Nexus is super underrated. While it certainly has its issues, most notably, I think a lot of people will find the fact that there's hardly any cutscenes in this game. Rather, you have like visual novel style talking head scenes that do progress the story forward, and the story is quite good, but that might be a little bit underwhelming to some people. However, you got a great combat system here. You've got some great music in here as well. The soundtrack's excellent. The characters are likable as well. Two playable story routes as well with two main characters, Yuito and Kasane. You definitely want to play through the game twice with their each individual routes, but yeah, $7.74 for this. Think it's a great deal. Definitely would give that a recommendation, and one of the more underrated games in my opinion in recent memory. Final Fantasy titles. Okay, obviously gotta mention some of these. Final Fantasy X 10-2 HD, $9.84. Final Fantasy X is fantastic. It's one of the most iconic video games of all time, and for good reason. It is an excellent JRPG, but Final Fantasy X-2 isn't all that bad either, you guys. I know that it's the cool thing to just crap all over X-2, but I'm gonna push back on that a little bit. I think Final Fantasy X-2 is a decent little extension to Final Fantasy X. You're paying the $9.84 primarily for Final Fantasy X, and that's fine, but don't completely sleep on X-2. If you end up playing X and you like it so much, X-2, don't expect something at the level of X, but it's a nice extension. You get more of the characters, Yuna in particular. But yeah, $9.84 on that, I do think is a good deal. So definitely would give that a shot. Final Fantasy VII The OG, $3.94. If you play this, I would highly recommend you to install the Echo S mod. Visual updates and full voice acting added for this game. It's a fan-made voice acting mod, but yo, those people crushed it. I don't know who any of those people are, but like whoever you are, good job on it, because I played through the entirety of the OG 7 with Echo S and was blown away by the quality of voice acting. On top of that, FF7 is still very much a worthwhile game to play with the, remake trilogy going a little bit wild out there. I do think 7 is still very much worthwhile playing. And the remake trilogy of 7 are great, but this is a case where the original can stand on its own and the remake trilogy is going to be able to stand on its own, and they're great games, so $3.94 on that is excellent. And then obviously, it would not be me talking about Final Fantasy without giving my girl Lightning a mention, and Final Fantasy 13. I love Final Fantasy 13. I know that this is the game that a lot of people are very divisive with. Some people do like it. Some people out there are like me where they like Final Fantasy 13. Other people, they don't love Final Fantasy 13. I love Final Fantasy 13. I love the battle system. I like Lightning as a main character. Saz is awesome as well. Some of the other characters not crazy about. Like I hated Hope, I hated Snow, but nonetheless, the soundtrack is exceptional as well, and I had a great time with the game. I get it, it's super linear, but guess what? I still really enjoyed the game, even during all of that. And $5.25, I think it's worth it to give the game a shot, so definitely recommend that. Next up, we got Dohack GU Last Recode, 91% off for $4.30. Love Dohack GU. These are some games that I grew up with, so obviously a little bit of nostalgia bias going on here as well, but Dohack GU I thought was a great trilogy of JRPGs. Like the main character in Haseo, very reminiscent of Sasuke from Naruto, and they've got the same voice actor as well, Yuri Lowenthal, but very much that angsty main character that goes through a lot of character development, and sometimes you know, he's just like it's a little bit comical about how angsty he is, but nonetheless, great soundtrack, solid story, a lot of characters that, you know, not all of them get necessary shine to be really developed, and some of the pacing issues are definitely there, but overall for $4.30, you get 3 games, a 4th smaller episode is included in last Recode as well. It's excellent, definitely check it out, and value-wise, it's great. Next up, we got Tales of Asperia Definitive Edition, 83% off for $8.60, and to stay in the Tales of world, Tales of Arise is $8.60 as well. Now, the Tales of games, for the most part, they aren't connected with one another. You can play them no problem without playing the others. You know, there are instances like Xillia 2 is a direct sequel to Xillia, so on and so forth, but Arise and Vesperia, totally different worlds. If you want to get into the series, Arise is probably the one I would recommend, just because from a quality of life standpoint and being more, you know, up to date for accessibility, I just think it's a worthwhile game. Vesperia totally is dated. It's dated in a lot of regards. It's 17 years old at this point, but Arise is a really great game, and Vesperia, like I said, is a solid game as well. Vesperia, from a story standpoint, I do think is hard carried by the main character in Yuri. The rest of the cast is fine, but Yuri is, like, the best character. Yuri is one of the best JRPG main characters that you're gonna come across. He's just super likable, and yeah, Vesperia is a good game. Overall, the story's good, the soundtrack is really great, it's just, it is a little bit dated. Arise, on the other hand, I don't think has anywhere near of a strong main character as Yuri. However, the characters are still fine, gameplay is solid, visuals are great, soundtrack is great here as well. $8.60 for Arise is definitely a good pickup. Arise does have an expansion in Beyond the Dawn, but it's mostly memes and you don't need to play it, so up to you on whether or not you want to check that out. But good prices on those. Chronocross, the Radical Dreamers Edition, is 67% off for $6.56. This is an absolutely iconic JRPG that is beloved by so many people. Definitely not one of those games that were a big part of my childhood, just because those PS1 JRPGs were mostly before my time. I played a few of them, like Legend of Dragoon and Final Fantasy VII and whatnot, but a lot of them I circled back and played them years after they initially came out. So I don't have that nostalgic attachment for Chronocross, the Radical Dreamers Edition, but or Chronocross in general, but it is a well-done JRPG, and certainly at this price point I would recommend it, especially if you're a fan of the genre. Ace Combat 7 Skies and own $5.16. Definitely different than all the JRPGs we're mentioning, but done by Bandai Namco, a worthwhile franchise here as well. Awesome soundtrack. I feel like if we talk about great gaming soundtracks, yeah, there's a lot of JRPGs that get love, but Ace Combat's got a banger soundtrack as well, and for $5.16, great price. Definitely recommend that. Code Vein, $7.74. It's anime Souls-like, as most people will say. It's really well done. I feel like Code Vein deserves more love, although it seemingly did do fairly well from a commercial standpoint, and I feel like this is one of those games they could easily do like a Code Vein 2, and it would do fairly well. But $7.74 on that, pretty good, and if you like Souls-like games and you like that anime art style, you're probably gonna really vibe with Code Vein. Definitely check that out. Next up, Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Complete Edition, 83% off for $8.60. You get Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Hacker's Memory and Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth. Both really solid JRPGs. Hacker's Memory is a lot of a retread, but definitely a good pickup here. You get 2 games, a lot of content, and we do have the 3rd Digimon Story game coming out this year, Time Stranger, which I am so excited for. Cannot wait for that. I'm a big Digimon guy, so obviously going to be looking forward to that. But Cyber Sleuth Complete Edition, $8.60 for that. Devil May Cry 5 and Virgil, $8.42. A lot of hype around Devil May Cry after the anime series came out, which I know a lot of people are down on. Everybody in my personal life is talking the anime series up, but everybody in my personal life also doesn't have an attachment towards the Devil May Cry video game series. Like, somebody I know played DMC4, they don't even really play video games anymore, and it's a lot of that. They might have, like, a lingering knowledge of the Devil May Cry games, but they're not super invested into the lore, and they all love the anime. I get that that is definitely not the consensus opinion online, but nonetheless, DMC5 is a tremendous game. I think that is a consensus opinion we can all agree on. It is fantastic. Soundtrack is great. Stylish action gameplay. I've never even been crazy about the DMC lore. That's not why I play these games. I play these games for the over-the-top action gameplay, and boy, oh boy, is that represented in DMC5. $8.42 on that is great. Monster Hunter Rise, 79% off for $8.50. Excellent deal for Monster Hunter Rise. I get that Wilds is out at this point, and yeah, you could go play Wilds, but Wilds is also $70. Rise, on the other hand, $8.50, and you'll still get a pretty good time, and you'll still experience that Monster Hunter gameplay loop. Enslaved Odyssey to the West Premium Edition, $2.58. I talk about Enslaved ad nauseum to the point of some of you guys potentially being sick of it, but Enslaved is such an underrated game that I was so happy to see this game just randomly drop on PC. This game like randomly got ported to PC in my early days of PC gaming, and I remember being just so ecstatic because I was one of the major fans of this game when I played it on PS3, and it's just a great game. It's a post-apocalyptic setting, but it's so colorful and vibrant. Story was good until the end. The ending was nonsensical, but $2.58 for Enslaved, definitely a good deal. Recommend that for sure. Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy is $8.42, a collection of great visual novels, and obviously at this point Phoenix Wright has become kind of iconic within the video game realm and something a lot of people should check out. They're well done, story-driven games. Certainly would give them a recommendation from that end. You know, they're not for everybody in the sense that story-driven games like that aren't going to capture the interest of everybody that wants more action-oriented gameplay, but $8.42, great price on that. Resident Evil Revelations, $3.91 on that. Quite possibly the most underrated Resident Evil game in the series' history, and this isn't somebody that's like a mega fan of the series, having played every single one of them multiple times start to finish, but Revelations initially came out on the 3DS, and I just think when it got ported, there wasn't a lot of interest from people wanting to, you know, check it out, given that at the point of it getting ported as well, it's not like Resident Evil was at its highest point. Biohazard turned the franchise around in a lot of ways, but this port came out in like early 2013, and it was well done, but Revelations itself is just a really, really solid survival horror game, and I would definitely recommend it at this price point, $3.91, no-brainer there. And then lastly, Klonoa Phantasy Reverie Series, 78% off for $8.60. Klonoa 1 and 2, really well done platformers, remakes of those two titles. Klonoa never really popped off as a platforming series, but if you compare it to, you know, the best platformers out there, like, it hangs up with them because it's really, really well done. Just never really gained that traction that I felt like it deserved, but charming games, and for $8.60, definitely a good pickup there. But that is going to do it for me. Again, a lot of great deals at the price of under $10, under $5, and under $3 for a lot of these. Again, these games are right up my alley. Definitely would recommend them. And there's a lot of other great deals at GMG. Remember, at GMG, you get Steam keys for anything that you pick up. Links to all of these will be in the description box below. That'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush here again. Hope you enjoyed the video. As you guys might know, YouTube's notification system is sometimes a little bit wonky, even if you're subscribed to the channel. Maybe you're not abundantly aware that I uploaded a video. To remedy that situation, make sure you hit the bell notification button. This way, whenever I upload a new video, and I try to upload as consistently as possible, you will be notified directly of the upload, and you can watch it as soon as it goes live. I would really appreciate if you guys hit that button so you can stay up to date with all of the content I'm posting. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.